evasions, leading to mild condemnation, leading to the understanding that something needs to be done, leading to big condemnation, leading to sanctions, if I can characterize the past 10 days or so in that manner. And yet what we haven't seen is anything really practical that will give us an idea of what the future is going to look like and give us an idea of exactly what role you can play in making sure that this situation doesn't occur again, that we don't see Africa, the North African states that are in trouble, relapsing into a situation where you have human rights regimes that don't respect their citizens being supported by Westerners.
Well, I think what is necessary, I said, is necessary for Mediterranean region. We should launch as soon as possible a new pact for stability, prosperity and democracy of European and non-European Mediterranean states working together. What we talk about is a Marshall Plan for economic development, helping promoting democracy and human rights. And of course, for the moment, what is necessary is the full implementation of international sanctions. We just adopted UN sanctions. We are about to adopt European sanctions, and all the European member states should fully implement.
You talk about a Marshall Plan, and that's come also from a number of other European politicians as well. But the Marshall Plan, as we know, was a government-led plan. It was public money being used to support Europe at the time of post-war crisis. Europe doesn't have that kind of money in the public purse to give away at this stage. How would this pact of yours work?
Well, Europe does. I'm sorry to interrupt. Europe does. Europe should coordinate much better the existing instruments, because Italy alone has proposed to open a new lines of credit for Egypt of more than 100 million euros only at bilateral level, and we did the same with Tunisia. Europe as a whole promised so far to mobilize just 17 million for Tunisia and something more for Egypt. So Europe should find much more money to have a more coordinated approach. If there is a political will, Europe can succeed.
And from Italy's perspective then, what are you prepared to donate to this?
Well, Italy will be continuing to support all the practical initiative to relaunch economic development and launch economic plans for all these countries that are in a transitional phase towards democracy. I did so in Egypt, I've done so with Tunisia. We are ready to do so, but bilateral level is not enough. We need Europe, and we need more than Europe. We need a coordinated international effort. That's why I talked about a Marshall Plan.
All right. Again, I'd like to ask you about Italy's contribution to all of this, and let me put a very specific question to you.
I said it is very clear. It is very clear. I repeated what I've already said. Italy offered to Tunisia more than 100 million euros, and more than that to Egypt alone at bilateral level.
Let me put a specific question to you about the immigration situation. Now, this appears to be one of the things that concerns Italy more than any other. How many, if any, immigrants, refugees, asylum seekers are you prepared to take if the situation in Libya continues and escalates?
Well, it is impossible to say. We are helping people with humanitarian assistance in the countries that are concerned. Egypt if necessary, Tunisia if necessary. We are waiting for a concerted and coordinated European approach. We are ready to face the first impact.
And as far as the overall European and international response is concerned, I know that you had a phone conversation with Hillary Clinton some days ago. Are you sensing that overall we are moving towards the possibility of intervention in Libya?
Not for the moment, as far as I understand. It will be possible to move on an humanitarian assistance mission to be enforced from the international community. I'm not talking about a military intervention.
A military intervention perhaps not, but would you be willing to throw your weight behind the idea of this no-fly zone that you and so many other people have skirted around to a certain extent?
That's why I said that no-fly zone is still under discussion, because if you decide a no-fly zone, you have to enforce it through military means is necessary.
All right. Mr. Frattini,
Okay.
thank you very much indeed for talking to Al Jazeera.
Bye-bye.
And thank you also for joining us on this edition of Talk to Al Jazeera. Bye-bye.
Business Latest is brought to you by Capco in just about everything. Business Latest is brought to you by Capco in just about everything.
Hello again. It certainly has been very wet for many of us in Japan recently. On the satellite picture, you can see the cloud as it gradually worked its way across North and South Korea and then across Japan. And it was in the southeast corner we saw some of the heaviest downpours here, some places reporting around 110 millimetres of rain. Now, this area of rain is now clearing away, but behind it, it's going to be a lot fresher over the next few days. The winds generally feeding down from the northwest, dragging in the cold air and also quite a few flurries of snow as well. Most of that snow will be in the west, and generally the further east you are, the better chance there is of getting away with a dry and fine day. Now, a bit further south, and it's rather chilly for some of us here now as well. Shanghai no higher than 8 degrees on Wednesday, and cooler for us in Hong Kong as well. This time only getting to around 21 or 22, so that's a good few degrees down. As we head towards Pakistan and Afghanistan, lots of cloud with us currently that's working its way towards the east. Heavy downpours out of that, lots of snow around as well. And that's also the cloud that's affecting us here in Doha, making things rather grey and giving us 1 or 2 spots of rain. So here it is on the satellite picture, making its way across Qatar there, across the UAE and eventually over into Iran. It is fresher though, and it should stay that way as we head through Wednesday. The winds now feeding down from the north to us here in Doha.
All the news, all the time. AlJazeera.net/English.
Qatar, through Qatar Petroleum and its partners, has been adopting ambitious plans aimed to expand its exports of natural gas. In its liquefied form,